Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Jesse Jackson III. I'm the best-selling author and facilitator of the Don't Kick 'em Out book and training series, and a lead advisor and consultant here at the Best Man Company, LLC. I have some questions that I think may help, and it is to all school administration. Are you having a very challenging year academically? Okay. Are you having a tough year getting your kids back in what's called the rhythm of school? Well, if so, you need to understand you're not alone. There are thousands of schools in that struggle right now, and it's primarily because the post-COVID reality, everybody dealt with COVID's totally different. There are some people who were preparing for post-COVID during COVID. Then there's some people that just totally forgot. It's unbelievable. We call it COVIDnesia. Like, you forgot what just happened. Like, here's the deal. All of us, well, not all, but 90% of all districts have certain groups of students who've never been to school. So right now, that first grade group or second grade group, they never been to school. That freshman group that's giving you all that problem, they ain't been to school since they was like 11. All right, so you start thinking like, okay, the world stopped. Well, they're picking right back up where they left off emotionally and with the deficit. See, I am just really begging us. I'm begging us. Folks, if you cannot be successful in the education process with all of these holes and gaps in your process. It's like you're overlooking. It's like there's data right in front of us. These people, and they really disturb me, the data. All I do is look at the data, but I create other data that is equally as relevant. Like, for example, if I have a culture where my teachers don't come to work, it's two ways to approach that. A lot of people like to get down on the teachers, right? They want to get down on the teachers. I'll never support teacher bashing. Now, I can check teachers individually because the teachers will listen to me. But I'm not going to, from the admin perspective, there's no way you about to pile on a teacher like these teachers don't come to work. Well, not coming to work as a teacher is giving us different signs. It is giving us different feedback. And are we paying attention to that data of staff not coming to work? What is happening in that environment that this adult does not want to be here? Now, once again, remember this, 9.5 out of 10 of teachers are committed to what we're doing. You might get that 0.5%. We don't base the data on the 0.5%. See, this is the same thing that's going on in our buildings. We got the behavior problems hijacking the whole building, hijacking our test scores. When you need to learn how to assess the data. How many real behavior problems do I really have? I was just at a school, it's got over 2,000 kids, and we were able to diagnose it properly that we have less than 30 families that are totally hijacking the whole school. So do we have a behavior problem? Or do we have a failure to recognize and act on our own data problem? That's good stuff right there. You got to know what you're looking at. So what I'm saying is, as a data buff myself, let's add some new data, some things we need to know so we know what to do. COVID is data. So we got people that are behind the world because COVID put us behind and they didn't proactively plan out of it. And there are some districts that were totally wiped out by COVID, totally wiped out by it. They didn't do anything for 2 years. And the staff is struggling, the kids are struggling, the families are struggling. If you're one of those districts that know that you need to really do the proper assessment and readjustment and get your team back on the same page, if you're a new superintendent and you started in COVID and you know your district is not running the way it should, if you're a principal and and you just keep seeing like, man, we're so far behind, it's this and that. If you're one of those, it is very imperative that you get help, start the training process, start the advising process to kind of guide you out of it. During COVID, this what people, people do understand. It's not something they don't understand. They understand. You got to realize My stock went up during COVID. Our company quadrupled our production. See, I traveled every week of COVID. I wasn't at home. Y'all was at home. I was out. I was moving about the world, helping top level state governments, sitting in some of the biggest meetings in the world, uh, literally talking to some of the who's who in the game everywhere, preparing for 2022, 23, because I seen what was happening. And when I made my list, y'all listen to it again. When I made my list, said, okay, what will we be dealing with from 2022 to 2026? Issues of health and safety, employee morale, staff burnout, race management, because race is still a big, weird issue in many districts, but because it was an issue before COVID, right? The world changed in May 2020. It got weirder. Some districts addressed it. Some didn't. So essentially, you're just waiting till it blows up and then you lose. That's not the way we want to do things. Leadership growth and development, trauma management, big deal, not trauma information. No, we're past that. We need to know trauma resolution. We need to know what's going on. But we need to know how to help the adults and kids move out of this spot. We were not designed to live with trauma. Okay, ongoing. Employee retention, employee enrollment, staff attendance, student behavior, classroom management issues, suicide and student violence. That's why I started the Fight Institute. Have you been to the Fight Institute? Have you brought the Fight Institute to your campus? People are still trying to say, oh, we're trying to figure out, this is kind of maybe something we want to do. It's ridiculous. What do you think we're sitting around here doing? We get things done. And I'm one of the guys that has a coast to coast approach. What is a coast to coast approach? We always adjust to all neighborhoods and what's going on. We got some of the largest districts in the country, some of the most dangerous situations in the country. But also, guess what? We got blue ribbon situations. We got some of the most affluent districts in the country. And we got some of the poorest. And then we got some of the most gully. It gets down. It's a serious street situation where the school is located. We're in rural neighborhoods, rural districts. We adjust. How am I able to adjust? Because I've been all over the world, very seasoned, well-traveled. I have friends all over the world. I do business all over the world. I understand. One of the things, it's true story, happened with me. I was one of the guys early on when I wrote Don't Kick 'Em Out. From my travels, I started to see that the way to start moving a lot of initiatives forward was to take the race variable out of it, meaning the skin color. And when I began to do that in places that I was going, I started to recognize that poverty's not money. Poverty's mental. It's here. Poverty's not money. Give an impoverished person money and see what they do. They'll get worse. You can be a billionaire and be impoverished. Poverty's not money. Anybody, we need to stop. That's foolishness. That's bad information. Poverty's here. If you think poverty by itself is money, you're misinformed. You can take it how you want to take it. So what I learned was out here traveling, I started to realize if you took that race variable, I'll never forget, this happened to me in real life. I got called, I was on the West Coast and I got called to go, and this happens often in my travels. Somebody will call my office and they're in crisis and they connect with my person and my person is like, man, is his doctor's unavailable? I know he's not available, but is he available? My person called me. So she called me and said somebody from Oregon called. She was like, you will like this lady. She's a fan. She's one of your big readers and everything. Don't kick him out for life. Okay, cool. And she was like, I told her you're on the West. If I could get you over to her school, do you want to do it? I said, yeah, can we make it happen? She said, yeah, we'll make it happen. The people will move for us out of their spot. So I went to the lady's school. So I'm going out to this school in the middle in Oregon, right? Right. I've been to Portland, but this was out there, right? And I'm going out to the school and I see this sign. You know how like there'll be signs that there's a deer crossing the road or something, the deer sign. They had a panther sign. If y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. I was there. I know what I saw, but it was a cougar or panther. So I saw the sign like, what is this? What? Like beware of cougar or panther. It's panther or cougar, something like that. It was in the tiger family. I'm a kid from Detroit, very city dude, right? I just remember saying, what am I doing out here? So I'm thinking I'm going to the hood, to the city, yo, right? That's what I'm thinking I'm doing. Man, I'm out in the middle of nowhere with panther signs, beware of panthers. I'm thinking I'm going to steal. It hasn't registered in my head. So I meet the lady. I walk in, a parent is cussing the front desk out. Now, once again, just tell you about like the mentalities. Like I'm thinking I'm going to the hood. I'm gonna see hood stuff, you know what I'm saying, from neighborhoods and my ideology, which would mean color would be a part of it, you know, black or brown or something. Man, listen, I went to this school. It ain't a black man or brown man on the campus. Not one. They had every single problem that the school I just left in the inner city of Los Angeles, California. That's when I knew I was right. I was attempting to pull that race out of there because I started seeing people all over the world was struggling. And the lady told me, I never forget it. She was like, Dr. Jackson, I read your book. You're right. Man, everybody's struggling. And that changed me because I was like, okay, I'm on the right road. I knew poverty is the variable. It's poverty because that's here. I walked in, that lady was cussing that secretary out. I'm like, where I'm at? Where I'm at? I'm like, what's going on in here? It was crazy. No, poverty mind. That the poverty mind would devalue authority, disrespect the education process. That's what I'm talking about. If what COVID has done, it calls for a reconditioning of our programs. There are many school districts that are struggling. There are many schools that are struggling, and you need guidance to get you on the right track. You know, and we're talking about from a massive pandemic, the first of all of our lifetimes, but the impact on the staff, impact on administration. So many administrations are fragile today. The impact on the fallout between the relationships between the central offices and principals. You know, you had during COVID, sometimes those central offices and principals worked really good. And then sometimes those relationships got really tenuous, you know, and it was bad. And there's residuals of all this stuff still there. So when I say the things that I say, you know, administration cooperation, parental cooperation, learning loss, and trust issues, these are the challenges of the next 6 years in our business. And I want us to stop struggling with culture issues. See, culture issues. Do not be in language, don't become or function as a district where your culture is toxic and you are above help. You're in a permanent state of disgrace. You know, I'm always likened to think about in my disappointment, and there's so many districts that, you know, they can't master the issue of culture. The culture is so broken that anytime you go to fix it, I hear things like pushback. And I don't even know what that means. How can the workforce push back? That's telling me you haven't developed a culture where they understand this is employment. But I want you to be here. You understand what I'm saying? I want you to work here. I don't want disgruntled employees. I don't want that type of culture. But also the employees don't run the organization. And when they attempt to do that, that means leadership has really failed to roll a vision out or to be a consistent person that the people want to support, want to follow. Broken culture will cost you academic production. I am tired of seeing F school districts. I am tired of seeing F schools. And the reason it's happening and people don't, it's your culture is broken. your culture, and if your culture was broken before COVID, it's worse now. You have to seek help. And here's the thing, as one of my dear friends that said that won principal of the year of his state in his acceptance speech, he said, you call people like Dr. Jackson and you listen to them. So why would you call Dr. Jackson and not listen? Right? Why would you call and make the investment and then don't follow through? Why are you asking the expert? I'll give you, this just happened to me recently. It happened last week. It's unbelievable. It was a great honor. It was overwhelming to me. I went to a place on the West Coast, and I hadn't had a lot of communication, with the group. I was talking to the higher ups, but not the groups I was going to be physically working with. So when I met them, I said, what did they tell you about me? And the principal said, without hesitation, he didn't hesitate. So it wasn't a joke. He said, well, they told us that you are the world's expert and author on the subject, and that if we listen to you, we would get much better results with this behavior and our fighting problem. And he didn't, it was like, normally it's like people are joke and say, he didn't, he was like, so we're really ready for what you got for us. Wow. Okay. Thanks. It's a lot of pressure, but I appreciated it, because what it said was, if we're bringing people in, we're not just trying to give talks. This needs to get fixed. Do you see what I'm saying? And if you are in this state where you are suffering with COVID residuals and you're ready, because everybody's not ready for help. And that's so tragic. All these F schools, and we're still talking about what we don't like, who we don't like, what we don't want to do, and pushback. One thing that I have always made my practice based on is I will not hurt children. And I'm not fighting with adults. I just believe in everything we're doing, and I believe in the adults to help kids. I'm not fighting with an adult about helping children. It's time where if we're not going to help the kids, it's just okay to move out of the way. I'm not arguing with adults. I'm a really happy person. I always say everybody loves Dr. Jackson. And they do. 99% of everybody in this business love Dr. Jackson. You know why? Because they love the truth, and they don't want to lose. I've never met a school that wants to lose. I've never met a school that wants to be an F school. I've never met a principal that wanted to fail. I never met a teacher that does not want to help these kids. I have not met a teacher like that, but I have met hundreds of thousands of teachers that don't believe in them. They care. They just don't believe, and a lot of admin doesn't believe in the staff. And that's the breakdown. That's the trust issue. We don't believe in each other. So a lot of central office doesn't believe in the principal. A lot of school boards don't believe in their superintendent. And when you're working for people who don't believe in you, you're not going to get good results. So this is why I have made it a habit of mine to only go to districts and schools where they believe in me, because that's when they're going to get magic. Belief. Nobody wants to be in an environment where people don't believe in them. And that is the master key to getting a lot of better production with these students and with our teachers. So if you are one of those principals or superintendents or school boards, listen, COVID wiped you out. You haven't got back on track. You need to pick up your speed. You're ready to do it, and you will listen. Call me and let's run. I don't know another way to say it. If you want results and you're ready, call me and let's get them. I appreciate all of the service that you're providing to these kids. I appreciate the warrior mentality and the people that are out here giving 100% to these kids. And I believe that we need to give 100% to the teacher as well, to put the teacher in position to be a champion and help these kids. And I believe it's got to be for both, and it can be done. And so that's what I'm here to do. I would love to help you. If you know that I'm a good fit for you, call us today, reach out today. I'm looking forward to working with you soon. Be well.